Welcome back, guys, to round 7 of the Gashimov Memorial. Carlsen and Karjakin were tied for first place heading into this round, and in this game Carlsen faced Anish Giri. So Giri hasn't had a great tournament thus far, and Carlsen will be looking to capitalize on that. So without further ado, let's jump into this game. So Carlsen has the white pieces, he goes for the English opening, and we have the 4 knights variation. So here Carlsen played g3. So there was a game previously between Carlsen and Giri in the World Blitz Championship in 2018, where Carlsen went e4, Giri played bishop c5, Carlsen played knight takes, and he played d4. And Carlsen proceeded to get a pleasant edge out of the opening because Giri wasted quite a bit of tempo with his bishop. But in this game, Carlsen opted for g3. So we have kind of a reverse Sicilian Dragon. So here knight takes d5 is a new move. Previously bishop d2 has been played. So here black recaptured. a3 and a5 from Giri, so that just stops white from going b4. Bishop d2, so perhaps wanting to stick the bishop on c3. Queen to e6, simply stepping out of the bishop's line. Rook c1, queen e7, protecting the bishop. Bishop c3, and here knight d4. After the game, Carlsen said that usually when there are no knights on the board, it's very dry and it's nothing for white. Giri also agreed with Carlsen, so that's probably why he played knight d4, intending to just exchange knights. Carlsen played e3, so we have knight captures. Queen takes f3, and Giri said that he was anticipating this break with d4, so he played bishop d6. Carlsen played queen h5, preparing for a dynamic plan. Giri played c6, so that just blunts out the bishop. And here Carlsen played f4. Giri said that he did not expect this pawn break to be a dangerous plan. And here he played e takes f4. A strange decision by Giri because this now opens up diagonals and files for Magnus. And now the bishop on c3 becomes quite a strong piece looking at g7. So in this position f5 was a possibility. The idea is to try and neutralize some of that pressure by playing queen to f7. And if Giri can get in the bishop to e6, I think he should be doing okay. But instead he played pawn captures f4, and Magnus recaptured with the g pawn. And this poses some questions to Giri. So Magnus is offering this pawn on e3 with check, but he has now opened up the g file for his rook, which could potentially lead to quite a dangerous attack. This is already looking a bit unpleasant for Giri to play, because white has ideas like trying to push the pawn to f6. So rook f3, rook g3 also comes to mind, looking at g7. White could also maybe try e4 to establish a strong center, but I think this isn't so effective at the moment because black can try and go f5. And after e5, black can go bishop e6 and try to set up a blockade. So it's pretty hard to suggest a move for Giri in this position. He actually played queen captures e3 check. Not in Giri's style, but not sure what he could have done here. So if he would have played f5, this is simply too slow because Carlsen can play rook to f3. And after queen f7, rook to g3, simply giving up the queen. Rook g7 and now rook g5, a discovery. So here white is up a pawn with some initiative against black's king. So good position for Magnus. So there was actually an incredible defensive try for black. The engine recognizes the danger in this position and recommends the inhuman move king to h7. So intending to chase the queen away, here g6, queen e2, f5, and the engine evaluates this position as equal. So here if king h7, if white tries f5, this runs into queen captures e3 check. Now queen g5 is possible. So in the game we see the move queen takes e3 check. So king h1, rook d8. So Giri doesn't have the time to develop his bishop. If say bishop to e6, then rook g1 gives white a dangerous initiative. Just for demonstration purposes, let's play a waiting move for Giri. So let's say this rook comes to d8. Now queen captures on h6, and if this is taken, bishop e4 check, and this leads to mate in a couple of moves. Rook g4 is mate, the bishops nicely control these squares. So here, if black tries f6 to blunt out that bishop, this leaves the bishop on e6 unprotected, and here white wins a piece with rook to e1. And if black tries rook f to d8, hoping to go bishop f8, this runs into f5, and after bishop d7, bishop d5 is incredibly strong, so here everything is attacked. And there's no way that black can deal with all of these threats. So Giri played rook to d8, simply making room for the bishop to come to f8. Carlsen goes rook c to e1, so he starts to get very active. Queen c5 from Giri. So here if black decides to capture another pawn, then white goes f5, and the plan is to go bishop e4, chase the queen off the diagonal, play bishop takes g7, play f6, and try to mate black's king. So I should point out that if bishop e4 immediately, this runs into queen h3, so f5 has to be played first to cut off this bishop. And in this position, black does not have a good reply to the threat of bishop e4 and sacking on g7. The engine gives the best defense as bishop f8, which runs into rook d1. So Giri played queen c5, proposing an exchange of queens. Carlsen obviously doesn't want to exchange queens, so he plays f5. Bishop f8, so stopping any potential sacrifices on g7. So here if f6, trying to blunt out that bishop, then bishop takes f6, simply opening up the king. The rook will come to g1, and there's a mating attack. So here bishop f8 from Giri. We have bishop e4, so those bishops are looking very dangerous. In addition to black feeling the kingside pressure, he also faces difficulties in getting the bishop and the rook into the game. And here Giri tried rook to d5, maybe the only reasonable try against white's immediate threat of rook g1. Because now if rook g1, Giri was hoping for bishop takes f5. And after queen captures h6, bishop takes e4 with check. And after pawn takes, rook e5 blocking this bishop. Black is still surviving and white's advantage isn't as significant as before. So here after rook d5, Carlsen played rook f3, simply maintaining defense of f5, and he intends to bring the other rook to g1. So he isn't really interested in playing bishop takes d5 and winning material, because after queen captures, queen f3, queen takes, rook takes, black has bishop and pawn for a rook, and he might be doing okay in this position. And here if instead of blocking with the queen, if king g1, b5 with the idea of going b4 gives black some counterplay. So Magnus played rook f3, b5 from Giri, so trying to seek counterplay on the queen side. So what happens if g6 in this position instead of b5? trying to take advantage of this pin. Here there's an amazing move, f takes g6. So if rook captures, g takes f7 is mate. Bishops cover these squares. And if queen captures c3, pawn takes king h8, rook g1. So this queen is still hanging, but white is threatening mate, rook g8 checkmate. So b5 from Giri. Carlsen goes rook g1, so his kingside initiative is still very strong. And now rook a7. So if Giri were to continue with b4, then Carlsen can play bishop takes g7, and here double rooks on the g file, and the attack is simply too strong. So here it would be a mistake to play queen takes h6, because black has queen captures g1, so removing the rook which is pinning the bishop, and here black wins. So in this position, Giri played rook a7. So now if bishop captures g7, black can go f6, defending the bishop. White is still probably winning in this position, but at least this doesn't lose on the spot. So after rook a7, bishop f6 from Carlsen. So simply stepping out of this b4 idea from Giri, and white's idea of going rook after g3 is still very strong. So Giri played g6 in this position, so taking advantage of the pin. So in this position, rook takes g6 was actually crushing. After pawn takes, queen captures g6, rook g7, captures, rook g3. If rook comes back to defend, then f6, and white has a great position. So after bishop takes g7, black can also try queen c1 check and play queen g5. But the resulting position is also good for Carlsen because he would be up the exchange. But instead, Carlsen played queen to h3. We have rook to d6, and now queen to h4. So Carlsen decides to enter into the endgame. A little anticlimactic after such a build-up, but it still gets the job done. This also avoids any complications by stepping out of the bishop's pin. So rook takes f6 is kind of forced to prevent white from playing f takes g6. We have queen captures f6, bishop e7, queen takes c6, queen captures, king g7. So Carlsen upped the exchange in this endgame, and with some pressure against black's king. And Carlsen didn't face much difficulties in converting this. Plus, he has a massive time advantage over Giri. Giri only had over a minute, and Carlsen had 20 minutes in this position. So here we have f takes g6, f captures, d4. So Carlsen simply wants to support the bishop and take away any open lines from black's rook. a4, d5, b4, bishop e8. So this threatens the pawn on g6, and also rook f7 in some cases could be quite annoying, pinning the bishop. So bishop g5, we have h4, bishop takes h4, rook captures g6. The game continued for a bit, king h7, rook c6, bishop g4, rook to f4, rook g7, and in this position Giri resigned. So Carlsen has many ways to win this. He can just play the very simple a takes b4. Another possible win is to play rook c to c4. And after pawn takes, h5, bishop captures, rook takes h4, and this is winning. Pretty amazing game from Carlsen. And this win now puts him in the lead as Karjakin drew his game against Navarra, so that puts Karjakin in second place. half a point behind Carlsen. Round 8 will be a crucial round for Magnus, as he will face Karjakin with the black pieces. I hope you enjoyed this game, thanks for watching, and have a great day.